an opportunity for learning. And the second is, how did it make me grow stronger? Because once we can have that perspective of what I learned from this difficult situation, then it does make you stronger, it makes you wiser.
CEO and founder of Project Happiness, Randy Taran is also the co-author of the Project Happiness Handbook, an interactive journey that illustrates best practices in promoting social and emotional learning. Mom of 3, Randy serves on the board of the Dalai Lama Foundation and speaks regularly on various happiness and youth-related issues. She's also a regular contributor to the Huffington Post. Project Happiness specializes in emotional resilience building programs that are used by people of any age and endorsed by public schools, private institutions, and universities across the globe. Randy, thank you so much for joining us today on Empowered Kids TV. I'm very excited to talk all about the topic of happiness.
It's wonderful to be here with you today to talk about happiness.
I wanted to start by asking, what actually piqued your interest in researching happiness, and how did that grow to shape what is now Project Happiness?
Well, it started for me in a very personal way. My own daughter, who was, I don't know, about 13 at the time, was stressed out. And she expressed to me, like, Mom, I'm stressed out. I want to be happy, but I don't know how. And that, you know, every fiber in my being was like, how can I help her? What can I say? What can I do? What kind of materials can I show her? What can we do to get this feeling of stress and pain, you know, out of her? And at first I didn't know the answers, and I started speaking to experts, and what I discovered really shocked me. The degree of stress is worldwide. You know, when you're in the middle of it, you think, it's only in my family.
Yes.
You know, what am I doing wrong? What could I be doing better, right? But what I learned was that depression is actually the second, predicted by the World Health Organization. They say depression is the second greatest cause of human suffering, and that's just behind heart disease. Now, that's for all countries, all socioeconomic backgrounds, all ages. And that really, it just struck me, all ages. I mean, this means little kids are suffering as well as everyone else. So what can I do about it? What can be my little thing that I can do to help? So film was my background, and I thought, okay, let's start with a film. You know, how can I reach kids? Kids like to watch film. Everyone likes that. It's easy. Get the message. Let's do that. So we brought teens together from 3 countries, from Nigeria, from India, and from the United States, and had them have a year-long conversation on what is the nature of lasting happiness. And along the way, they interviewed people like George Lucas, Richard Gere, the neuroscientist Richard Davidson, and finally, they all had the opportunity to go to India to have a private audience with the Dalai Lama.
Awesome.
Yes, maybe he'd have the answer, right? He'd have the answer. But as they learned, well, the Dalai Lama is a very interesting person. He kind of put it back into everyone else's court.
Yeah.
Which is what it should be, because there's no one path to happiness. Everyone has their own journey. So after that, we put together a book with best practices in positive psychology, neuroscience, and mindfulness. and some of the kids' wisdom, because was what I felt. I wished my daughter had had something like this in her school. So we created that, and from that, I worked with a team of educators to create a curriculum. And we brought in psychologists and mindfulness experts and counselors and so on. And now it's amazing to me, but this curriculum is in over 90 countries.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah. I mean, who would have thought,
You've identified for us one of the biggest myths around happiness is that we chase happiness by trying to achieve success, thinking that that would extend into happiness. Can you tell us why this doesn't work? And if there is any at all, what's the link from a scientific point of view between success and happiness?
Okay. There is a researcher, well, originally from Harvard and now in his own practice, called Sean Acorn.
Yeah.
You're very familiar with him. So he has a very interesting statistic. The brain at positive is 31% more productive than at negative, neutral, or stressed. So by activating our positivity or our happiness, we end up lighting up the dopamine within our brain. So that is the learning center. It turns on the learning centers in our brain. And therefore, we can be more productive, happier, more generous, healthier. There's so many benefits. But what's interesting is that previously we used to think, once I work hard, focus on my work, and then I'll be happy. Then I can, retire and have the life that I want. Then I'll, achieve the peace of mind that is the result of, focus, working hard, and sacrificing your happiness.
Yes.
Right? So now we know that it's actually the opposite, because by cultivating our happiness, we not only become more productive, but we become more creative. Our social connections become stronger. We can solve problems better. Our focus is better. It has so many benefits. So, that was very old school way of looking. Right now, we know that by cultivating happiness and mindfulness, we in fact position ourselves to have a really fulfilled life in all quadrants, not only in work, which, the work improves. There have been studies that people who are happier actually do better in sales. They do better in creating their own networks and so on. Anyway, there's a myriad of benefits, but start with happiness. That's the bottom line. Start with your own inner happiness, and that is not a selfish act. It's actually a key to fulfilling your best potential.
So we're actually flipping it around, because we've been for the past how many ever years been going at it the other way around. When I get success, I'll get happiness. Yeah. And now you're saying that we need to have that happiness first for the success and the great relationships and everything else to come.
Exactly. And it's not something that we can get from the outside, like, oh, when I get that job, when I get that relationship, when I get that raise, when I get that gadget or that new phone, then I'll be happy. No. You start with the inner work, and then that shows up in our outer world.
You've mentioned Sean, and Sean has said that happiness is a choice. And Dr. Davidson has also said that happiness is a skill, one that we can nurture and develop. Have you also found this to be true from your research?
Happiness is definitely a skill. It's a skill that anyone can develop at any age. But we really believe that why not give younger kids that advantage? It will help them throughout their lives. So I'll give you an example of how we teach it. We use the acronym happiness, and for each letter there is a skill. So for example, H is for what is happiness, long-term and short-term happiness. We look at the both and have the students understand the difference between ice cream, for example, as a short-term happiness, and taking care of someone else, or a pet as a something that is longer term. A is the power of appreciation and gratitude. So by cultivating gratitude, it just opens up, a really deep sense of well-being. P is for perspective. So by shifting our perspective, as you were saying, by choosing happiness, or as our kids say, choosing the happy path, they're empowered. They really have a new sense of how they can navigate through life, having that choice of what perspective they'll adopt. And then the second P is for passions and strengths. So we work with Gardner's multiple intelligences to give students ways of understanding their strengths, whether it might be in math or in nature or in communication with people. And we don't look at it as strengths or your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Everybody is strong in certain areas, and this destigmatizes the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's good for kids, for people in general, to be able to identify that at a young age, because then they can use it later in their work or what they do in the world.
I think that's something that we've lost, especially as probably my age, this generation of 30s and 40s and 50-year-olds, where you find a lot of people struggling to find, what am I passionate about? And just like happiness, you think that should be something that you should just instinctively know. But it isn't that easy for many of us to be able to work out what we're passionate about anymore.
We forget.
Yeah.
We forget. If we just tapped into what lit us up as children, that's a clue. We can actually track. There are exercises we have where you track back to the times where you felt most alive, and these are clues. So we do that with the kids. Then moving along, the acronym I is for inner meanie or inner friend. So we use the work of Dr. Carol Dweck at Stanford on mindset and translate that into a vernacular that the kids can get. And they really get it. They say, you're listening to your inner meanie. Don't listen. You need to listen to your inner friend. From a very young age, they can make that choice. It's
very good.
So amazing. It's so amazing. And then N is for ninja mastery. How do you master those big emotions? And ninjas are resourceful, and they can navigate through difficult situations. So we teach kids to find that quiet place within themselves that is knowing, that is resourceful, that is powerful, and wise. So that's a lovely part of it. E is for empathy. Very important, because we address the root causes of bullying. We do not believe that can be dealt with by, don't bully.
Exactly. Yeah.
Report it in to an adult.
Yep.
No, we have to get to the bottom of it, to the root causes of teaching. And this, it can be taught how to walk in another person's shoes, learning body language, facial expressions. All these can be taught. It's been quite amazing. And then S, so similar, how we're all similar. Even if our outside, expressions are different, our hair color, eye color, the food we like, etc., our customs. Inside, we all want to be loved. We all want to belong. We all want to be accepted. And finally, finally, it is sharing your gift. And this is a culmination. You take your strengths, your new knowledge of how to manage your emotions, your sense of how we are more similar than different, and what are you going to do to take what's really special and unique about you and share that with others so that you can make a difference. You can make your school better, your community, your family, and then it goes on how we can make a world where everyone can thrive. So, long answer, but yes, these are skills that can be taught.
This season on Empowered Kids TV, we've been focusing on helping parents sort of align parenting tools and techniques to goals. But I think the motivation that you had to help your daughter create consistent happiness is the ultimate goal for a parent. So how do we then take these skills and incorporate them in our families using tools and techniques? Can you walk us through some ideas?
Sure. Well, first of all, let's talk about gratitude. Here in the United States, we have Thanksgiving, and that is a big, holiday where we express thanks. And traditionally, we sit around the table and everyone expresses what they are thankful for or grateful for. Well, guess what? That doesn't have to be once a year. We can do that as a family, as a practice, even once a week. And also not only what we're grateful for in life, but what we appreciate about one another. So that's kind of a lovely practice to do. There's also gratitude journals, which is really very powerful. If members of the family can just jot down one thing even that they're grateful for about that day. And another thing that I add, especially for kids that are feeling somewhat insecure, even adults, they need to remember what their strengths are. So jot down also one thing that you're proud of that you've accomplished during the day. It could be something as simple as smiling at someone new and just, connecting on that level. But, that builds up confidence and positivity and so on, and that ripples out. Parents have to be aware that due to mirror neurons, kids pick up everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Sad but true.
It doesn't matter. Yes. You can run, but you can't hide. No, it's serious. Kids pick up all the little nonverbal clues. So for parents to become aware of the messages that they're giving in their body language, in tone of voice. One thing that is really important and research is showing is that the idea of connecting through touch. This is a very powerful way of calming down a child. Even before as parents, we enter into conversation, just like a hand on the shoulder or leaning in or showing interest. That's one of the very powerful ways of helping kids feel safe, helping them open up, helping them calm down. So communicate, comfort. This I'm talking about when disputes arise and so on. The worst thing to do is just react, unconsciously. But we all do it. Yep. We're all human, right? So if parents can develop some sort of practice or strategy for when there's chaos erupting all around, take a couple of deep breaths first. Tune into yourself, and then face the situation. So what's important, again, with kids is the comforting first, then validate their
feelings,
emotions.
Yeah.
if something comes up, it's not like, I told you not to do that.
How many times?
How many times? It's more like, wow, you sound like you're angry. You must have been angry in that situation. And that opens the door to deeper communication. And then the idea of listening to what the kids have to say, giving them permission to talk about their emotions rather than act out their emotions. That helps so much. And finally, reflecting back, talking with them. Well, how did that work? What would you try next time? Letting them be empowered. I love the name of your word, empowered kids. It really is about letting the kids and even parents feel empowered in their roles of creating a holistic environment where everyone can work together. Other tips, try and have something that you enjoy doing together as a family. Whether it's going for a walk, connecting in nature, perhaps something in sports or creative. Everyone has interests that we can share. So make a point of that. And also simplify. There's so many obligations as parents that we all feel we're pulled in so many directions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So if we can take one thing off our plate, even not overschedule our children with, they have to go to, dance or karate or, whatever it may be, extra practice for their math or this or that. We all need some breathing room. Yeah. We all need to have, some space just to connect with ourselves and then with each other. So that would be another thing. And then building on strengths. So if you see something positive that your child is doing, remark about it. And it's not to the extent giving praise is kind of tricky because you don't want to say that, which is what I did to my daughter. Oh, your art is so amazing. You're a genius. I can't believe it. What happened? She shut down. She didn't do art for 2 years. Thank God, that passed, and I learned something from the experience. You have to praise their efforts.
Yeah.
Praise the process. Oh, it looks like you tried really hard. Why did you choose those colors? That's so interesting. I'm so glad that you're putting, so much heart and effort. It shows. It really shows. That will allow them to continue along those lines, knowing from experience. Yeah.
How do you manage what we would class as failures? Because it's one of the things that as a family we're trying to figure out ways to celebrate. Because I think it's one of the things that we learn the most from, but we push it under the rug, like just let's not notice that there was a failure here. So how do you incorporate celebration of times when you have tried your best, but it may not have been the outcome you were after?
Okay, that's a wonderful question because that's the times where we learn the most. And there's a word that we like called advertunity. What is the opportunity within the adversity? So I always say that there are two questions that really help in any challenging situations. One is, what am I learning from this? Or what did I learn from this? Because everything is an opportunity for learning. And the second is, how did it make me grow stronger? Because once we can have that perspective of what I learned from this difficult situation, then it does make you stronger. It makes you wiser. I was very impressed. I read that in the UK there is a school where they have a course on the benefits of failure, or something like the fabulousness of failure, And here in the Silicon Valley, that's something that is it's appreciated. It means that people are in the game,
Yes.
that people are trying, that people are learning something. So the focus on outcome and comparison is absolutely what kills us, So it's about the journey, they say, not the destination.
Yes.
So what are we learning along the journey, and how are we growing? And really to reward that rather than just focusing on the outcome.
How do you also, Randy, instill that sense of purpose? So you talked about purpose being part of the happiness acronym. How do you instill that sense of purpose within the family environment?
Okay. Well, one strategy is to have a family kind of a mission statement. So I believe that we are all here for a purpose.
Yes.
Everyone is given talents, gifts, particular a uniqueness about them, and the opportunity is to take that special gift and develop it, nurture it, appreciate the unique gifts in others. And as we do so, we develop skills in those areas. So whatever we focus on grows.
Yes.
Whatever we practice, we get good at, right?
Yes.
And as we, do that immersion into whatever lights us up, whatever we are passionate about, that lets us know whether, gosh, I feel so alive when I do this. I just love what this is, whether it's music, whether it's art, writing, sports, telling jokes, whatever, caring for others, whatever it is that makes everyone within the family feel that sense of aliveness, of being on purpose. This is what I'm here to do. This is what I love to do. And getting to know that about ourselves and our fellow members of the family. So, therefore we look at the family as a group of very special souls, if you will, that have come together, that are fortunate to be together during this life, and we can help each other grow. And it becomes just such a sweet experience of seeing that unfold.
Okay. I'd like to go back and talk a bit more about Project Happiness, because the work that you're doing in schools across the world is truly amazing. Can you tell us a bit more about how you're incorporating the project in schools and about some of the results that you've achieved so far?
Sure. Well, the programs are being used from elementary schools through middle schools, high schools, even universities. And what we have seen is that anyone participating, and this goes from the students to their parents, because there's always an aspect of
carryover
homework, right? And the teachers are noticing that it's changing their lives. The students get to learn the skills. Pardon me for 1 second.
Yep.
Thanks. The parents get to practice the homework. We tell parents it's to reinforce the skills that the kids have learned at school, but it's really an opportunity to learn the same things, because often parents have not had the luxury of learning about these skills. They're just nose to the grindstone. They have to work. They have to take care of everybody else. Yeah. But this is an opportunity to learn. And even the teachers, through teaching it, they're embodying it, and they've had, teachers tell us, I feel my connection to teaching much more strongly. I know this is why I went into it. And the students are expressing, thank you for teaching this to me. It's very nice. We also do have a Facebook page, Facebook/Project Happiness, and it's a black and white logo. So that is a way of sharing inspiring messages to people of any age across the world. And within 1 year, we've just crossed the 400,000 mark, and it's growing at a rate of, I don't know, it's close to 2 people per minute. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And what we're doing is teaching happiness habits. So we've broken it down into 7 days. Monday is for mindfulness, Mindful Monday, or Motivation Monday. So you get uplifting messages that just
definitely needed on a Monday.
Give you that push. Oh yes, yeah. And then Tuesday is all about gratitude, Gratitude Tuesday. Wednesday is about wellness, physical wellness, your energy, developing that. Thursday is Thoughtful Thursday, so it's about the power of beliefs. So many times our beliefs can either support us, or old beliefs can undermine us and keep us small. So this brings awareness to that. We also talk about altruism, giving back, and how by doing that, you end up feeling better than even the person that you're giving to. Right? And Friday is about freedom, connecting with that sense of being in charge of your own life, and what aspects make you feel free, and just let go of the other stuff. And Saturday is all about the soul, connecting with what lights you up at your very core. What makes you feel alive? What makes you just feel so connected you could almost And then Sunday is called Sunday Stillness. So it's coming back in, because we all know that in the stillness, in our own inner depths, that's where all the answers reside. So that is a fantastic program for people everywhere, and we've been having remarks like, this has changed my life, this is like my Bible, I read it every day. People that are suffering from PTSD, or various depression, bipolar, are saying that it helps them enormously. People that have been laid off of their jobs, and they're searching for just that little boost. Let's say they're saying, I turn to this every day, and it just helps me so much. I mean, there's so many stories it just makes me feel like, yes, this is why we're doing what we're doing. So, for anyone listening, check out that Facebook page. You will be happy that you did.
How do we begin sharing Project Happiness with the schools that our kids attend?
Well, we have everything on the website, projecthappiness.org, and there are instructions, and there are even packets that you can download, so you don't have to think of what to say to your school principal or administration or anything like that. It's all there. It's all there for you, and so it's easy. And anybody can order the book or the DVD. Have screenings, community screenings, school screenings. That's all available through our website as well, or on Amazon. And one thing that I'm very excited to share with you is that we are launching a new program called Circles of Happiness. And the purpose of that is to ignite communities
Mm.
and bring people together. So this is something that fits in seamlessly to the groups that you already have going on, whether it's a book club group or a faith group or, group of moms getting together, whatever it might be. And there's a very simple process to do that just gets people to connect with one another and be inspired, leave with inspiration and lots of great energy. So that's a sneak preview. It's coming very soon. Yeah.
Randy, thank you so much for helping us dispel a few myths, but also understand the keys to happiness.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you for doing all your wonderful good work to share this message of empowering kids and families and people in general, so we can all make this world so much better.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this episode. We're all about sharing and supporting this village. So if you found value in this episode, be sure to share it with your family and friends. And remember, this is a weekly show. So if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you'll be notified of our next episode. As we always say in the village, you're just one connection away. With love and gratitude, empower us. Until next time.